I will leave aside the issue of the origin of Shugden worship because this is a field which I'm not a specialist in. And I also do no excursion in the thorny and slippery and foggy field of theology like you avoid to do, because there is stretchable and dangerous. And again, I'm not a specialist. But I concentrate instead on patterns, sociological and political and religious sociological patterns, which is what I'm dealing with mainly. Instead of discussing fact, I'm trying to figure out what, in the different chapters of the history of Shugden worship since the 5th Dalai Lama, what was particularly obvious or particularly has been regarded as a problem. Well, you have to see that I think you come to two concepts. That is the concept of elitism and of divisiveness, as opposed to inclusiveness. The dispute seems to have started with the 5th Dalai Lama adopting mainly, there's several issues, but one of the main issues that the 5th Dalai Lama adopted for the state of Tibet are rituals and deities, I don't go into details, which actually belong to other schools of Tibetan Buddhism, in particular Nyingma school. And there were people among the Gelugpa who had become the strongest school, at least in central Tibet, who were bluntly refusing that in their own writing because they saw their tradition as being the pure tradition, and hence it would not be right to adopt deities and practice from other schools. What happened after the death of 5th Dalai Lama and his regent Shigatse is actually, there are many people who pretend it is very clear, actually it's not clear at all. How should then practice become a widespread feature of Gelugpa school? Because it has become that. It had become that. It's not entirely clear. Partly because, to a large extent, because it left not so many traces in scriptures. A lot of that is oral transmission. And a lot of things which existed at that time, we don't know anymore because there are not much evidence. We have a lot of things on indirect evidence. Right. Yes. But what we know for sure is that at the beginning of the 20th century, we have the following situation. We have a situation in which Shugden worship has become rather the rule than the exception among the Gelugpa school. Prayers are recited regularly, which make a clear distinction between the Gelugpa tradition and other traditions. We have most of regions of Tibet who are clearly Shugden followers. This is very important politically because in that time there are not many Dalai Lamas. I mean, they were there, but most of them died very young for various reasons. And hence, the Dalai Lamas were not mostly not government, but regions. There always has been a stronghold of Shugden worship in eastern Tibet among Kangpas. And the sociological reason for that are very clear. At the contrary of central Tibet, where Gelugpa school is clearly dominant and there is no way around it, in eastern Tibet the situation is more complex. The Gelugpa monasteries are very big and very strong, but there are more pockets surrounded by non-Gelugpas. And hence, you can see why the need is stronger, or is felt stronger, not that it's strong as such, to have something which makes a difference between Gelug and other schools. An important episode in Tibetan history regarding the Shugden is the relationship between the two monasteries of Sera and Drepung. I will leave aside this situation in Gandan because that is very complex and actually not very well researched as far as I can see. If somebody knows better, please consult with me. First, Sera has a stronger link to Eastern Tibet, and second, Sera has a stronger link to Beijing, to the Qing court, Qing Manchu court, and also to Tashilhunpo, where also the Shugden practice is very strong. So we have here a kind of axis which is, it is moving, nothing is black and white. Reality is always gray, but you have usual suspects that I don't mean in pejorative sense, but always this kind of patterns recurring. There are exceptions, but you have this link between Beijing and Lhasa. You have Sera, you have Tashilongpo, you have Eastern Tibet, the Kampas, the Gelug Kampas, and you have Shugden. And always the circle of the Shugden worshipper separate themselves, make the difference between themselves. This seems to be the essence between themselves and the non-Gelug person. Which, from the point of view, might be right. I'm not criticizing that as such. But I think it is important if you want to understand the situation from a social and political point of view. Then we have the chapter of Pabongka Rinpoche. Pabongka Rinpoche has been universally recognized as one of the greatest Tibetan scholars. There is no doubt about that. He's recognized also outside the Gelug school as such, but also very strong, very, very strong in recent century, definitely the strongest detractor of Shugden, and a detractor of Gelug supremacy. It is a little bit, there's a discussion as to how important this role really was. There are people now who say, who tend to be anti-Shugden, and who say actually he has really introduced it. I personally don't agree with that, but as I said, more research needs to be done on that. Important for our pattern, which we're looking at, is that we have to do again with a highly revered person, but somebody who will make a strong opposition between Gelugpa and non-Gelugpa, and is the detractor of Shugden. Then we have in the 20th century the tensions with Tashilongpo, the Sera crisis in 1947. Again, Shugden plays a role in that. Comes exile. In the early years of exile, the Dharamsala establishment is clearly in the hands of Gelugpa, Central Tibetans, and Shugden followers. There are also Eastern Tibetans Kampas, I do not deny that. Not a large number, but they are there. Some are very important. But they all are Shugden followers. People who are not devoted to Shugden and don't belong to the leadership. And this has changed, of course, during the 70s and during the 80s, partly to a large extent because of the Dalai Lama himself. And there are other factors that played a role, New Generation, Tibetan Youth Congress, which was at that time a very important and very big organization. And politics became more participative during maybe the 80s, and I've left 1 minute and 50 seconds, 50 seconds, which is not much. The last chapter of divisiveness, to make a small jump, was some years ago, 6-7 years ago, when there was a big decision struggle in the monasteries in South India, where the Dalai Lama and people following him, to my observation, a very, very large majority, proposed that Shugden worship still be practiced in the monasteries, in the big monasteries, and they were asked to leave, to create their own monastery, which finally, after a lot of struggles, happened. So again, we have to do with clear separation between Shugden and non-Shugden. I will leave aside one point that I wanted to make about the three current groups. One, which appears to be important, is that there are roughly three main Shugden groups nowadays. We speak about Shugden, the Shugden path. Actually, it's not such a unified word. There's one fraction which is around mainly today, the monk in India who calls himself Kundalini Rinpoche. There's Nkati and Kesan Gyatso. And there is Gangchen Lama. I've mainly encountered Gangchen Lama. Gangchen Lama is close to the Beijing function. Gangchen Lama is supporting the construction of Shugden statues in different monasteries in Tibet. He was behind the intronization of Gongsa Rinpoche, which has been published very much in the last couple of years.
Hi, Thierry. I'm going to have to ask you.
I'm finished.
Bring it.
I'm finished.